Okay, I think I'll take you through Sheila's biography. So, Sheila has 4 years of experience in engineering. She has acquired her bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Jiangsu University in China, and she also holds an MBA from Yesbud University and is a certified asset reliability engineer from Mobius Institute. So Sheila has also worked as a condition monitoring specialist at FQM, Kansanshi Mines, and later moved to Barrick Lunwana Mine in Zambia as a reliability engineer. So she currently works in the Southeast Asia as an expat reliability engineer at Shifeng Gold Lean Seng Minerals Limited. When she's not being an engineer, she's a wife, a book author of 3 Christian books, and a vlogger on YouTube and Instagram.
Thank you so much for the biography. As you can see, Miss Sheila has achieved so much in such a short period of time. So, without further ado, can we please get into the interview questions? So, my first question, from what we've heard about you, is what or who inspired you to go into mechanical engineering rather? Sorry.
Okay. I think usually I get that question a lot, and to be honest, it's a very difficult question to answer because sometimes life is just so funny. Life just throws you in some places that you really don't have answers for, but you find yourself in places like that. So initially, I did not imagine that I was going to be actually a mechanical engineer. I did love my physics and my math, and those really excited me. But I think growing up, especially in an African background, it looks like being a doctor is all that everybody, wants to be to some extent. So if you asked me some years ago, I'd have told you I actually just wanted to be a doctor. But life happened, and issues here and there. I'm coming from a background that is not so much um money per se, and I was on a scholarship, or at least that's what I thought. But then when I did travel to China to do a bachelor's in medicine, I found that I was actually what's the word? I was smart. I was lied to. The person that told me that I was gonna get scholarship, when I landed on my flight in China, I found that it was all fake. So what was a 17-year-old supposed to do in a place that, is a foreign land, that you're already there, you've packed up everything, your parents have invested everything thinking this is it, and then you find it's not what it is. I'm not going to get into those details, but you can get my book and read about that. But that's not the point. The point is, because situations and everything surrounding me could not work for me to do medicine at that point, I had to weigh my career options again while I was already there. And the first thing that was possible, because I loved math, I do love math and physics, the closest to that was mechanical engineering. I could have pursued electrical, but then my immediate brother is an electrical engineer, and it just didn't seem right to have two in the family pursuing electrical. But when I did go into mechanical, I realized it's everything I love. It's physics and maths, just getting deeper and deeper into an intense mode. But basically, that's how I found myself in mechanical engineering.
All right. Nice to have you online, Sheila. I just want to check if I'm audible on that side.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm very happy to be, talking to you, Sheila. I've seen you on LinkedIn quite a while, and I think I've also gone some of your book openings, and it's quite motivating. And I'm very happy to get an opportunity to actually, ask you some questions today. So you migrated for your undergrad studies. Are you from Zambia and you went to China? How was that process? What are the challenges you faced? Was it you following a dream? Was it you having, to cross the borders, cross the continents, to overcome, to overcome the challenges and to follow your dream? What was the experience like?
Well, basically, like I mentioned earlier, when I did fly, I was actually excited because I mean it's a new place, something new and whatnot. But then when I did reach and found that the situation that was there was different from what I'd imagined, basically, my agent lied to me. I didn't have the scholarship. I had to settle. I had to put my mind together to begin to figure out what am I going to do with my life. I'm already here. How do I figure this thing out? But challenges, yes, challenges were there because you're in a foreign land and it's not like home. There's a language barrier. There's few of you Africans, and maybe the few ones that you meet maybe can't relate to you exactly how you'd expect your country people to relate with you and all of that. But basically, I pushed through. I pushed myself because I knew I didn't have an option. And I think one thing that I've learned recently, and it's something that I keep emphasizing, is that if there is a superpower that we have as human beings, it's the ability to adapt. And especially when you're pushed in a corner, you can't help but adapt. You don't have an option because in that corner it's either you survive or you die. And so I was in that corner, so to say. I mean, in China, I'm young. I don't have so many options. What I thought was is not what am I supposed to do. So I told myself, Sheila, you're going to adapt. Sheila, you have to make it work. Sheila, you gotta survive. What are you going to do? You can't just fly back home because truth be told, you don't even have money to fly back home. So now that you're already here, what are you going to do about it? So I had to now start looking for a way out. I had to learn to survive. Literally, it felt like being thrown into the deep end and being taught to swim. Like if you don't swim, you're gonna drown, sis. So you gotta just swim, and that's what I did. So I had to learn to swim. Challenges were there. A lot of them. I mean, there was part-time jobs here. There was some lecturers that look down on you. There's a lot because you're in a foreign country. Foreign countries come with their perks, but it's somebody's ability to know why they're there and what they can do about what they have in their hands that makes somebody survive. So that's what I did. I used what I had. I made the most of what I could, and yeah, I made it.
I think I'm speaking for everyone in saying that is truly inspiring. I mean, I know I would have like crumbled under the pressure of what you're facing, given the same position. And we're so glad you pulled through and you are where you are now. My second question is, would you recommend studying mechanical engineering for young people who are looking for any career guidance, especially in foreign countries? And what opportunities do you think are available in this field?
Well, mechanical. I think among the engineering fields, I think a lot of people usually would tell you, no, don't go for mechanical. It's really hard. Yes, it's hard, but then it's doable. But I think the reason why for me I felt like it was my best choice at that point is because when you look at the details of what mechanical has, mechanical is vast. Mechanical touches a little bit of civil, it touches a little bit of electrical, it touches just a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of computer science. So at the end of the day, when somebody studies mechanical, you have these bits and pieces of the other engineering field, so you kind of have a vast knowledge of the engineering field. And for me, I feel like it's one of the best engineering options that you can do, especially if you want to have at least a bit of an idea about all the engineering fields. I think it's a good field to take. And would I recommend somebody studying it? I definitely do. And in a foreign land, it depends on the land that you study from. What I believe is in many places now, because the world has become so much of technology now, you are exposed to a number of things. You're going to have some great teachers in some countries, and you're going to have some not so good teachers. But at the end of the day, it's the initiative that you take with what you have. And I feel like that's my main thing today, what you have. Because I studied when I went to my school. my school was the first, we were the first set of international mechanical engineering students. They had been having a lot of Chinese mechanical engineering students, but we're the first international. So there was a bit of a challenge on their end as well, on the lecturer's part, because there was a bit of a language barrier. But in that point, or in that moment per se, I had to look at it from, am I going to make an excuse and say maybe I didn't make it because my lecturer wasn't, very fluent in English, or did I actually make it because I used my initiative and said, okay, I have YouTube available, I have books available online, so I'm going to take what the teacher is giving me, what the lecturer is giving me at the moment, whether it's much, it's little, I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to use extra effort to do my research and pick here and there, so that everything I put together makes me who I am today. So I like to say that a person's um, a person's ability to make it is not necessarily dependent on the school they've gone to. I think it comes back to what they can do with the little that they've been given, and the extra mile they're willing to go with the other available options that they have. So yes, I think it's a good career field to take. The school, it doesn't matter the school, just ensure it's a good school that, I mean, that's been, certified to be able to give you a job, because some schools are not certified. So as long as the school is certified, your lecturers can communicate, you can go the extra mile, I think it's good enough. Yeah, that's what I think.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Sheila, we hear you talking about going the extra mile, doing some more work, and persevering. And now my question is, would you say that your studies alone, prepared you for the work environment? Are there any tips, other things you think like you've done, besides the academic work that actually have put you on another, level, that have increased your chances of success in the work environment?
Well, basically, I wouldn't say academics alone got me there. No, they did not. If you come to the work field, to be honest, maybe quarter of what you learn in school is what you actually apply in the workplace. Unfortunately, just maybe a quarter. Sometimes maybe even just a little of what you learn is applied in the work field. But when I say it's not applied, I'm not saying it's useless. What I'm saying is you're not applied directly as it is in school. You will not find your calculus in the work field, and somebody's like, okay, engineer Toby, for example, we have a problem. This machine is not working according to your calculus 3. How do we sort this issue? I don't think anybody will ask you that. There's no calculus that you directly apply, or mechanics, or any course like that. But it's how you are
Hmm.
able to resolve those issues.
Of
I
those
think
issues,
the sorry. Yeah, I thought somebody was asking a question, but yes, your academic part is going to help you. That's true. It's going to help you because when we are exposed to those challenges in school, they teach your mind to be able to look for solutions. They teach your mind to be able to see between the lines. They teach your mind to be able to, think beyond what you're seeing. And so in the work field, you're not going to be solving questions per se, but you're going to be applying your mind, you're going to be applying some theories, you're going to be using certain principles, and that's helpful. But what got me where I am is when I did graduate with the academic background that I had, I started to do voluntary work. I volunteered as an intern, and they were not paying me a dime, which is something I also want to emphasize to us young people. When we want internship options or attachments, we want to be paid. No, at least they should give me a little something. That's when it will motivate me to go. No, I woke up at 5 in the morning to catch a bus for an hour, and they didn't even give me not even one kwacha or $1 or anything. I used my money. I went there. I knocked off late like everybody else was getting paid. In fact, when my workmates found out I wasn't getting paid, they were like, no way. There is no way you can be this committed for zero amount of money. But I did it anyway because I knew that my academic background alone wasn't going to get me anywhere. I needed the experience. That's what people who are employing are looking for. They are looking for people with experience. And you find all of these memes and all of these posts that people are like, no, nobody is taking me. They want experience from us because, I mean, we just graduated, but companies are not getting us and hiring us. They need to see your commitment to work, to gain some knowledge. Some companies offer some money, good for them. For the one I started with, they didn't offer me anything. So I was willing to come for free so that I could be exposed to the work environment, pick up a number of things. I started picking up things in the environment, and I did that for some time. And eventually my CV was building up. My CV built on $0 or zero kwacha or R0, but it built, and eventually it got me the results. So I think, yeah, those two are very important.
Thank you for that.
So beyond that, beyond your commitment to building your experience and being, you know, volunteering yourself to get that experience, you are an academic, you are a certified asset reliability engineer, and you hold an MBA degree. In your opinion, have these qualifications enhanced your career progression? And if so, how have they served you?
Well, initially I did graduate as a mechanical engineer, but you will not find, or rather you'll find that not all reliability engineers are mechanical engineers. Others are electrical, others are mechanical. So you won't find people that have gone for a bachelor's degree in reliability engineering. I don't even know if that's a thing. I've never seen it anywhere. But maybe you'll find like asset reliability practitioner course. There are courses that you add on top of what you've already studied. So I did mechanical, and I started learning reliability and condition monitoring on the ground. I started to learn about it in the workplace. So that's another thing. When you go to the workplace, you need to be ready to learn, because not only what you have, like I mentioned, your academics alone will not serve you. You need to be trained. You need to have an open mind, ready to learn what that company is about, or what that field that they've hired you for is about. So I was hired as a mechanical reliability engineer. And to be honest, when I started as reliability, I was wondering, like, what is this reliability? Like, what is this even about? But then I was ready to learn. I was ready to apply myself. So they started to teach me the things they do in the field, on the ground. That's where I started to learn from. But as I learned, I started to now do research on it. And that's when I got enrolled to do an asset reliability practitioner course. So it helped me because not only did I have the workforce knowledge, the background on the ground, but now I even had it certified, because now I had it in theory as well, besides just having the practical knowledge. So it was experience plus the theory and the certification. So that helped me, because now my mind is not just based on what somebody told me or what my boss told me to do. Now it can be, compared to what's in the books as well, what's out there, what the course is really about. So that helped me. That moved me from one level of, you know, um, one level in my engineering into another one, because now I was exposed to more knowledge, and that helped me. With my MBA, I just graduated a few months ago. I think early this year, I just got my degree. So that one is yet to be used. Hopefully, I'll be manager soon. I hope my boss is somewhere listening to this. But yeah, the reason I pursued an MBA is because I believe that if you're going to be able to want to um, push forward into, let's say, management area, or you want to advance to such areas, besides just being an engineer, you also need a business background, because nobody is just going to put somebody who knows spanners into a management position. Like, what happens with the finances, what happens with the decision making? So that's the reason I pursued an MBA, because I felt like the engineering background and the economic business background together are able to help me with higher levels if at all I do pursue. So yes.
Okay, amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Sheila. And then, just to add on what Sanelisiwe has already asked, about the certifications and courses, particularly in the mechanical engineering environment, we know that asset reliability is one of them. Are there any other courses that you encourage people already within the industry to take as well? Especially people in the mining environment. to enhance their careers?
Well, I think it depends on which part of mining exactly you are in. I believe that there's a number of certification and courses that you can do based on the line that you're in. So probably somebody who is doing geology in the mining field would not find any use for an asset reliability practitioner course because these are two different directions. But if you are in the line of reliability and in the line of mechanical electrical, it's a good course because it gives you a third eye on what's happening with your machines. It gives you a third eye on how systems work, on principles, and certain things that somebody that has just done basic engineering will not see. And I think that's important. But if you're looking at mining, engineering, geology, if you're looking at telecoms, electrical, there are other things or other courses that I think are important to pursue. But besides the engineering part, I think these short courses like project management, business administration, these added courses, projects, I mean, they give you an open eye. Like make sure that you have these, they're short courses. They can be 6 months, they can be a year. But I would encourage the people that are already working and you're an engineer, trying to do these other courses because they put you one leg ahead of the other teams. I mean, so many people are graduating now with engineering courses. So what differentiates you from the next person? If I was an interviewer and an employee and I had 200 of you that have all done mechanical, how do I pick you? It's when I see what else stands out besides the fact that you're an engineer, because all of you have the same background. So that's why it's important to make yourself an asset. Make yourself an asset by doing an extra, I mean, going an extra mile, do something different, add an extra course, make yourself valuable. Let me look at your TV, let me look at the things that you've done, and I'll be like, I need this person. Because if I can have five things in one person, I mean, that's a very good deal. So yes, it's how we all like bundle buying. I mean, when I find there's a bundle, there's a toothbrush, there's a soap and a sponge and a towel, and it's all bundled up. That's the first thing I'll pick instead of picking one each. So it's the same thing. Bundle yourself up and sell yourself. Do courses that are related, and especially if you know your company, you know the business line of your company. Follow that business line. If you have a career goal and you're saying, for me, I want to end up, like in my case, let's say I want to end up a manager. I know that if I want to end up a manager, I want to end up a CEO, I want to end up a COO, I need to ensure that I make myself valuable in that line. So I need to pursue something that would make me valuable in that place. So if you know your goal, if you know your target, that should be your line of where you want to end up. I wouldn't have done an asset reliability practitioner course if I knew that I didn't want to continue to pursue reliability, because then it would have been useless. So it comes back to you. Where do you want to head to? And once you find out where you're supposed to head to, you begin to do a research. What is needed in this line of where I'm supposed to get? And you begin to improve yourself like that. You begin to improve yourself like that. And it will be helpful. Yeah.
And
Thank
in
you.
my personal opinion, you are indeed an asset. You have accumulated 4 years of experience working as a mechanical engineering intern in the minerals industry. You went on to work as a maintenance reliability engineer in the gold industry, and most recently as a maintenance and reliability engineer in the mineral industry again. I know you're in a relatively new role. As far as your LinkedIn profile, you have been there for 3 months. So, can you give us a brief, like, overview of what your role entails currently, and what do you enjoy the most about what you do, and what is the most challenging aspect of what you do?
Okay. So my new role, I'm an expert reliability engineer. I mean, I did reliability engineer in my previous company for about 3 years, and pretty much it's reliability engineering. So wherever you go in all the mining areas, reliability engineering remains reliability engineering. But what makes this place different, or what makes my settling here a bit different, is now it's an expert job, not just a reliability engineer. I worked in my country, but now I'm in a foreign land. And when you're an expert, the expectation is very high. The reason you're called an expert is because you are counted to know a lot more than many people. You are assumed to have an upper hand on what happening. So when something goes down, when everybody feels the expert should know what to do, and it comes with a lot of weight, because when you don't know, you're also like, I also don't know, I don't know. So you have to make yourself, like, valuable. So I'm always studying. I'm always wanting to make myself as knowledgeable as possible, because I know that a lot of things will still come back to me and be like, what does the engineer say? What does the expert engineer say? It's different when they would say, what does the engineer say? Because now we are a number of us and we're a number of engineers. So any of us could be like, I think ask Cecilia or ask the next person. But this time it's what did the expert say? So, and there's not much of you. You are like two experts. So one of you, especially when you're on a back-to-back roster. So your friend is out and they're like, oh, we have one expert around. What did she say we should do? So if I think it's a big role. It's very heavy and it's not something I take for granted. But I love the challenge that it comes with it, because then I can't relax. Then I can't sit back and be like, oh, I've reached, I've made it in life. Nah, I gotta be on my toes, I've got to learn, because I don't know what's gonna happen next and when they ask me. So that's one of the things. The challenge, on the other hand, is being a foreigner. This is the first time I'm working in a foreign land. I did study in a foreign land, but now I'm working in a foreign land. So there's language barrier. There's just the decision to work away from home. It's one thing when you're studying, because you know that, after I'm done studying, I'm gonna go back to my mom's house and everything's gonna be fine. But now this is work. You're an other person now. It's not just as easy as, oh, it's gonna be done. You're working. You're staying here. Your life has started here. So it's a lot of responsibility on yourself, because you know that I've got to nurture I've got to nurture what I've been given, and I've got to use it wisely. I've got to work diligently. I've got to work as a responsible person. So I'm here, and sometimes you're working with people from all over the world, and the way they approach work might be different from the way you approach work, especially that I'm working with people from Australia, people from England, people from Africa, local people from Asia. So it's a lot of different eyes looking at the same thing. And sometimes the way you look at things is different. So my approach is, let's look at it this side. And this person is like, no, we need to look at it like this. But when you actually sit back a little and just look at what the other person is saying, you get to understand that you're actually saying the same thing. You're just using a different approach. And that's one thing that I keep learning on the ground, is that we should understand that we have the same goal. The goal is to make our machines as reliable as possible. The goal is to be engineers of the same equipment. The goal is to drive the business. What does the business want to achieve at the end? And once you understand that you are on the same team and that your goal is similar, you get to relate with people better, because you're not trying to compete with each other. You're not trying to fight each other. You're trying to win one goal together. So if I can just sit back a little and see what is this person trying to say, what is this next person trying to say, okay, where does my idea fit in, and then together we put that together and we achieve something greater. So there's that aspect. The other thing is, just it's always important to look at other people's approaches, because you learn more as well. As I'm one of the youngest experts in my company, and so that comes with its challenge as well, because everybody's like, what's this young girl saying? I've been in the industry for 30 years. What can you tell me? That's a huge one. Like, that's a common one. So how do I, a person who's been in the industry for 4 years, bringing an idea that somebody who's been around for 30 years thinks, I don't think it's relevant. But I keep emphasizing, and I keep explaining to them, like, look, I know I'm young, and I haven't been in the mining industry like you for 30 years. But the thing is, the industry keeps revolving. There's new technology. So there are things that could not be done in the mine 30 years ago that are being done now. There are things that used to be done in the mines back then that we've moved on. They've phased out, and there's this new technology. And I tell them, like, look, if you could just understand the principle behind this new technology, you're going to see that the principle is the same. It's just making your job easier, and it's giving you a further eye to understand things even more in details. And once you understand that, look, I'm not trying to shun away the ideas that you're bringing out. I'm not trying to make you feel like what you did 30 years ago is irrelevant. I'm trying to make you understand that there's a better way now, a faster way, a less cumbersome way, and this is the new way. And once people get to understand that and open their eyes, they get to see that at the end of the day, we are speaking the same language. We want to achieve the same goal. And once they embrace that new change, we actually get even better results. And that doesn't come by easy. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of maturity, and yeah, it takes a lot of grace. But yes, basically that's what I can say.
Ah, lovely, lovely, lovely. Sheila, I really love the fact that, you're actually, I think, one of the first expats I've actually spoken to, and you've been very honest because normally when they talk about expatriate work, they're saying it's all about the money, money, money. But, getting to understand the pressure that comes with the money now, is also very important for me. So, my next question is, over the course of your career, which role have you enjoyed the most? And is there a particular commodity, that you have fallen in love with and that you particularly enjoy working with?
Which role have I enjoyed the most? I think I don't even know if I can pick. I mean, I've done literally the same thing, only that I've built on it along the years. Like I started in a reliability and condition monitoring role, but um, when I interned for my first, my second company, in fact, the first mine I interned in, I was reliability and condition monitoring analyst, and I really enjoyed that role because for the first time I was being exposed to reliability and condition monitoring, and that's when I was getting to grasp what this reliability is, what this condition monitoring is. But what actually made me love that experience so much was my boss, my immediate boss. He was very helpful. For somebody who is coming from school, there's a lot of pressure that they want you to prove yourself as the engineer. Hey, show us what you learned at school. You think you know things. But then he was very open, and he said, look, I know how you've come. I came like you, so I understand that you've come fresh and there's so much you want to learn. So I'm going to guide you through. And when he started with that, he would take some of the things from school because he had a similar background. He was also a mechanical engineer. So he knew what we learned from school and he knew what was in the company. So he would tell you and be honest with you, like, look, I know you're looking at this machine. I know you're looking at bearings, and we want to understand when these bearings are going to fail. But you need to go back and, calculate, go back to your some of your principles, some of your calculus. He brought in a little bit of school that he sprinkled around work, and it made it a bit more insightful. So to say, it made it more insightful because it felt like, okay, so yes, the industry is different. Yes, I will not apply everything from school, but there are these bits and pieces that he connected together that made it seem like, okay, so school wasn't irrelevant per se. It's not all of it. It's not even half of it, but the little bits and pieces that he brought together helped. And his guidance and mentorship that he gave to me, it was very helpful. It gave me interest in the work. It made me excited about going to work because I know that I wasn't just going to be thrown into the company and told, I'd figure it out. But there was a lot of guidance along the way. He says, okay, I know you probably want to think the way you thought at school on this one, but this one you need to look at it with this approach. So I really enjoyed that 6 months internship that I did with Kansanshi Mines because there was a lot of mentorship, which is different from some of the companies because you don't find that mentorship everywhere. And I think it also comes back to the person you're reporting to. Some people are just inborn teachers, some people are just inborn mentors, and they'll guide you through it. But it's helpful when you are reporting to somebody who takes it upon themselves to mentor you because you make it, they make your work easier, they make your learning easier, and they make your transitioning as well easier. And that for me stood out the most because I've gone to many other companies and I haven't found a mentor like that. So I think that's what I would call my favorite period, so to say. Yes.
That's great. My follow-up question to that is there an achievement which has made you the proudest? It might have been like learning something or applying something that you know from school into the work environment, or something like a project where like you've reflected and you've said, okay, this is my proudest moment? And also, is there a project or a aspect of your career where you reflected and wish you'd done something differently?
Wow, how to pick one? But I think if there's something that stands out is I think the first project that I did in my first mine, I was supposed to do something different, and I started to think, what different thing could I possibly do? I mean, there's so many things that have been done in this place, and my mentor then said, look for something that you could help save a cost. Like if you can help save a huge cost in the company, that would be very good, and it will make you. They'll acknowledge you. So I started looking around and I said, what could I possibly do here? So I realized in that company we were losing a lot of compressed air because we had a lot of leaks in the plant. So there was a lot of compressed air all over the place, and there was a machine, a tool that we had in our office that my boss explained, like, oh, you can actually use this tool to detect air leaks. So what I did is, it was a lot of strenuous work, and that's the thing I also would like to emphasize to you guys is when you get into the engineering field, because you're a graduate engineer, sometimes we feel like, I mean, I shouldn't be in the ground. I should be holding the spanners. I shouldn't be doing the hard work. I should be giving like consultant kind of you know arrangement. Like I should be telling you, oh, you screw there, you open that thing up. That's what we want to do because we are from school. But if you want to really grow in your engineering field, you need to sometimes get your hands dirty. Sometimes you need to get into the dirty work. And so for that specific project, I wore that overall suit and I got my kit and I was in the field most of the time for a number of weeks trying to identify every leak, highlighting where it is, and then calling a team from a different section to come and deal with that leak. And we saved over 100,000 US dollars once those leaks were cured that we were losing as a company. So that was a very proud moment for me because the company was able to save so much money. I mean, 100,000 US dollars and more is a lot of money, and for a company to see that, it really just made them so happy. So that brought a lot of value to me as well. But then besides that, when I moved to my next company, I think in my previous company, just before I moved and came here, I actually got the award, Employee of the Quarter award. Employee of the Quarter. It was very humbling because I mean, the whole company, I'm the Employee of the Quarter. Like, stop, what? Yeah, but that was a really, really, really good time because I also did a project there that I also took myself into the field. I mean, when you do reliability and condition monitoring, there's a lot of analysis that you do. You do a little bit in the field, come back and analyze that, and then give a feedback to what they should do down there. But then with the projects that I got involved in, I actually went into the ground myself. I went into the field more because I knew the importance of the results that were going to come out of this project. So I did a similar thing. We had these grounding engine tools that we use, and they wear out so fast and nobody knew. When you ask people how long should this last, people will tell you 10 days, 5 days, 6 days. But with my project, we're able to track the exact time that this grounding engagement should last for, and it now helped with the budgeting. It helped the planning team to be able to plan the change-ups, and that was a really good thing because at the end of the day, I got a whole award, and the whole CEO came from Canada, Toronto, and he shook my hand for it, and I got all these gifts and whatnot. But let me not get you guys excited. But yeah, it was a very proud moment for me to be the Employee of the Quarter. Yeah.
Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Before I get on to my next question, I know they gave you that 100,000 US dollars you saved. So after this, we can have our private meeting, right?
Right.
Okay. So, what skills or attributes, are most important, to progressing in this industry that you find yourself in the mining industry as a mechanical engineer?
I think for starters, soft skills are very important. Soft skills, I mean, if you're a ground people and you don't like to deal with people, please just stay home and find a job that doesn't require you to interact with people. Because the thing is, with these roles, when you take up, for example, a mechanical engineering job or a reliability engineering job or even an electrical job, the thing is you're going to be working with technicians and electricians and mechanics. There are a lot of people under you that you have to communicate with. And the thing is, most of the time, you have to tell them what they should do. Most of the time, you're the one who lays out the guidance of what they should do. And sometimes they are going to have to give you the feedback of what's happening in the field, and you use that information to make technical decisions. And so if you say, I'm not a people person, I don't know how you're going to work, because you're going to need those people. There is no way you're going to make a decision without those people. So you definitely need to have those soft skills. Be kind, be good, be able to ask questions, and also be ready to learn. There's so much I learned from the guys in the field. I mean, there were electricians and technicians, and somebody would brag like, I have a degree, I can't learn anything from the electricians or the technicians. They only have a diploma or a skills. No, sis, no, honey, they know a lot of stuff. Most of them have a lot of years of experience, and they've been exposed to so much. They see a lot of things down there, and that's why you need them. You need them, they need you, and that interaction just puts you at an added advantage. I mean, there's some of you have heard of vibration analysis, some of you have heard of laser alignment. I actually got that skill from a technician that taught me before I actually went to school for it, before I did a course for it, before I got that certification. A technician taught me. And when people see me do it, they ask me like, "Oh, did you go for a training in South Africa to do this?" I'm like, "No, I did it right here with a technician right here." So it's very important to have soft skills. The other thing that's very important is you need to have a leadership quality as well, because you're for people to come to you, you're going to be a leader. You're going to be a project leader. You're going to be a project head. You're going to you're going to have people under you. And because you're going to have people under you, sometimes people will not make decisions until they ask you, okay, Engineer Tao, what should we do? Okay, Engineer Toby, what should we do? Okay, Engineer Nati, what should we do? So if you don't have that leadership quality in you, it becomes very difficult, because you're also like, I don't know, what should we do? And they're like, yeah, the engineer, you should tell us what to do. And you say, okay, you're also the technician, you tell us what to do. And then at the end of the day, everyone's just like, who did we hire? Like, what's going on here? So you need to be a leader, and to be a leader, you need to also um you need to be ready to learn, and you also need to have more knowledge of people. So you make it intentional to learn more, because when people come to you for help, they expect that you should know. You might not know everything, and the truth is you will not know everything, because there's so much to learn, there's so much to know, but at least know a number of things that can be helpful to your team. So you need to be ready to learn, you need to be teachable, you need to have leadership skills, you need to have soft skills. Your character matters a lot, and it determines your success in the industry. These same people that you're learning from or you're guiding will also recommend you. There are places you will not be everywhere. Sometimes your bosses for your promotion will go and ask the same guys at the bottom and be like, how are you working with this engineer? And they're the ones who say, okay, she's very helpful, he's very helpful, in fact he guided us here. And your promotion might actually depend on it. So be good to people, whatever workplace. I mean, engineer or not, it's just important to be good to people. Yeah.
Very, very true. And I need the link to that 100K meeting. Uh, so, so speaking of working in teams and leadership, you've worked in many teams, and I assume you've assumed a lot of leadership roles and made various networks throughout your academic work and personal life. So my question is, how have you developed your capabilities as a leader, and what advice would you give to someone who's looking to improve their leadership skills?
Wow, that's not a very easy question. Um, some people would say that leadership is inborn, but I would also say that it's something that you can work on. Leadership is basically just giving guidance to people, being able to guide people. Basically, that's what leadership is. And I think all of us are capable of being leaders. We just need to be able to organize people together. We need to be able to pass on information. We need to be able to teach people. Basically, that. So, how did I learn or improve on it? I don't know if I really have a straightforward answer on that one, but I think I didn't I didn't I didn't look down on any group that I was given to lead over. And I think probably sometimes that's the mistake that we make. We want to be leaders of bigger people or a bigger group or a people of a certain portfolio before we take up the role and think that's when I'll improve more. First, which people am I supposed to lead over? But I think for me, my growth, even with leadership, has been based on even just, you know, people that people would see as, you know, they're just a minority group. Why should you take it so seriously? I mean, you're just going to speak to technicians. Why are you preparing so hard? I mean, you're just going to address children, school children, about a career talk. Why are you preparing so hard? But I feel like, for me, like, it's those circles. You start from small circles, and from that you're growing. You start from leading small circles, from leading small groups, sometimes irrelevant for certain people, but it's out of those that you keep improving. So what I would say is your leadership will grow based on how willing you are able to address whichever group is before you, how willing you're able to lead whatever group is brought before you, and how willing you are to pour out whatever that you have, what you have to this group. So I realized that,
We don't even know if we will bring it in the kitchen.
yeah, I realized that whenever we had interns at our company, even when I was confirmed, I would always want to have interns under me. I would always want to be the ones training them, the ones showing them what is done in the company, the ones pouring out into them, because I realized that as I show them, as I teach them, I'm getting a refreshing memory on some of the things that I might have backed. And also sometimes they'll ask you certain questions that you're like, wait, I need to go back and check, or I need to go and research and check. And I keep learning as well. So I think that's the importance of leadership. That's the importance of taking up the role of a leader, whether it's interns, whether it's technicians, whether it's a career talk at a school, whether it's a university talk with students, whatever it is. I just believe that if you can start with handling the small group passionately, and you pour out yourself, you begin to learn more of yourself, and eventually you become able to handle even bigger groups and address bigger crowds even more confidently, because you've built out your capacity from where you started from. I don't know if that answers your question.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, so far, Sheila. I am very grateful for this opportunity. I just have my notepad down here, so I'm writing down notes as I ask these questions. So onto networking and meeting people. What is the value of networking? To you, and did it help along your path? In a career, like, is there a certain time where the networks really made a difference?
Yes, I think networking is very important. But one thing that I would want to emphasize in this meeting is, as much as networking is important, I'm not going to recommend you because I know you. I'm going to recommend you because I know you and I know you're skillful. Okay. And that's the thing that we take out. We want somebody to recommend us. We want somebody to go and speak for us. No, I mean, she's my friend. She could have just told the boss to hire me. I'm your friend. I'm your friend. And that's true. But I know that you don't take your work seriously. I know that you want to knock off after 2 hours. I know that you take 4 hours lunch break. So if I recommend you to my boss, the boss will come back and say, who did you bring here? So I think it's very important to understand that networking is important. It's helped me as well. The company that I worked in for my second internship company, my boss that I said is my mentor, he really helped me a lot, even with my next job. With every interview, if he prepped me, he helped me, and he really was helpful. And with my last job that I had, for me even to have this expert job, somebody recommended me. Somebody recommended me and said, I worked with this person. It was a network, out of a network. I mean, this person said, this girl is diligent, this girl puts in her all, this girl can get the work done. So networks, they are helpful, they're important. And I'm emphasizing that when they recommended me, they didn't say there's this girl in Zambia that could come and work here. No, they talked about the results of what they've seen of what I can do. So even as we are networking, that's why I kept saying in the beginning that make yourself valuable, because when you're valuable, even the networks that you didn't expect to recommend you, they recommend you. You are mentioned in rooms that you don't know about, because they are seated in a place and they're saying, we have this problem. We're looking for somebody who can, fix this problem. And somebody remembers, like, wait, I actually worked in a certain place where there's this person. I know them from afar. I don't even know them very well. I don't even know them closely. But I remember that when I worked with them, they were able to sort such an issue out. I think they would best fit this job. So that helps. That helps because then somebody remembers. Somebody could even be your friend, and they know the thing that you do. They know that you put in your own, and they recommend you. So networking is important, but remember that be valuable, so that even when I'm recommending you, I'm confident. I'm confident that the person I'm recommending is gonna get the job done. The person that I'm, recommending is not going to tarnish my name. Because at the end of the day, what we forget is, if I recommend you and you do your job in the worst place, I mean, it's just wrong. It also tarnishes my reputation, and that's why you find that now people are a bit hesitant with recommending people, because they've recommended people based on who they know, and probably somebody saying, please just recommend me, and then the person recommends them, and then they do things wrongly, and then they still come back to the person that recommended and say, the person you recommended has made the company lose money. The person you recommended has destroyed, something. And now it's next time I want to recommend somebody, even when they are skillful, they're like, last time you recommended someone didn't go so well. So make sure that you are on your top notch when somebody recommends you. Put in your best. There's a the company that I interned for. After I left, they literally would call me and say, after you left, we realized that you did a great job. Is there somebody who also would want an internship that you would recommend? Somebody from your university, somebody from your town, or somebody from your city? And I remember I called this girl and I told her, like, when you go there, do not embarrass me. I have left a good reputation there. So I recommend you, and you gotta be. And she did a great time there. She did a great job there. And even when she went to another company as well, they called me again and they said, "Oh, the girl was great. Do you have another person on the list?" But and I told the person the same thing. I'm like, do not spoil my reputation. But if I didn't do it well there, if I didn't do a good time there, probably they wouldn't have asked me for the next person. And if the person that I recommended didn't do a good job, they would have never asked for the next person as well. So that's why networking is important. Know people, but have your best character, have value, be on your top notch, because these are very important. Sometimes you find people that are skilled. You could be very good at your job. You could be really good at what you do, but maybe your character is questionable. I would not recommend you, because yes, you're good at your job, but if you're gonna be cussing everyone at the office, I'm sorry, we are not doing that here. So yeah. So character, skills, and networking, these work together perfectly. I don't think you have a hard time being recommended, or finding a job.
Thank you so much. That is noted. I see Tal scribbling away, so we really appreciate that information. So moving on to your personal life, when we got your bio, it said that you are not only a professional engineer, you are a wife, you are a book author, and a vlogger. And I went to your Instagram because I'm an Instagram person, and I checked your profile, and I was looking at your wedding photos, and I was looking at your vlogs, and I just wondered, how are you able to manage your time and find balance between these different roles?
Okay. It's not an easy thing to do, but I believe that if somebody is able to balance between their work life and their personal life, it actually helps you to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? To be more productive at work. Because I found that if you're going to put all your energy in work and you don't have a good or balanced personal life, it affects even your productivity at work. I mean, we used to say, I mean, people would say, "Oh, work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." Well, I believe that even work, when you do so much work that your personal life, your family life, every other part of your life is not balanced, it might affect your results in the other areas. So I make sure that I find time. I mean, working in the mining industry is, it's a lot of work. I mean, the time frames are just, it's 12 hours. I work for 12 hours a day, 12 hours for 9 days continuously from 6 to 6. So it's a lot of energy that they drain out of you. By your ninth day, you're just like, God help me now. But yes, how do I make that work? So I find time when I'm off work, I find time to relax. Of course, my husband's very helpful as well. We find time to do something different from work, like we're off work, let's switch off work, only emergencies. And when it's off work time, I need to ensure that as a person, I get back into my routine as a person as well. Because you find that many people, especially minors, when you get so infused into the mining industry and into the work, you lose out on your personal life if you're not intentional about balance in your personal life. You lose out on it, and you find people that after they resign, then they realize they have no wife, they have no children, they have no company, they have no friends, because they thought at that point that all these other things weren't important as long as they had the job. But I don't think that's healthy even for a human being. You need to be able to balance. It's like school as well. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's healthy to just, have school and school and school and school. I don't think it's healthy. You need to also relate. You're a human being. You need to relate with people. You need to find time to just chill a little bit. Just take the stress out. It's very healthy, and I think it's very important. So that's what I do. Whenever I'm off work, I try to dig into other parts of my life. I write whenever I have time. Sometimes it could be after work, a few minutes before sleeping, I read a book, or I write a little, or I vlog a little. It just depends on every little time that I get. I always say that no time is too little. So any time, any opportunity that I get that I can do something different, I jump on it and I do it. So that's the balance. But it takes a lot of intentionality. I am very intentional about my personal life because I know that 3/4 of my life is my work life. So I have to be intentional about my personal life. So yes, that's how I balance that.
Okay, Sane. So intentionality is the key word, Sane. Okay. So Sheila, you're also you're an author, and we are aware that you've just written a new book, and would like to know, if we can get access to this new book, and can you just give us an idea what this new book is all about?
Well, my latest book is unveiling, and pretty much it's like clearing misconceptions. So like I said, they're actually Christian books. So I talk about some of the misconceptions that we've heard over the years. There's so many things in the world that you hear that you're just like, where did this even come from? Like, who even said this? So I just tried to pick about 10 or so misconceptions, and I address them in the book from my thought pattern and also from the Bible, what I thought was, the direction that we should take based on certain things. For example, you find people who talk about, let's say, one example is somebody will say, this person has been sick for a very long time, so you should take them to the mountain to get, to pray for them. I don't know if in your countries you have people going to the mountains to pray, but then I would challenge the person and say, so what happens if your area has no mountains? Does that mean the person will never be healed because there are no mountains to take the person to? So those are some of the misconceptions you find. Like, you could literally pray in your room and the person could be healed depending on your faith and all of that. So it's things like that. You find somebody who will say that you need to be a decent person, when going to church or going to a church gathering, you need to dress decently. But I believe that decency should be something that you do all the time, because we are the temple of the Holy Ghost, we're the temple of God. So if you're going to believe that church is the building, that means we've gotten it wrong, because church, you and me make church. So if I'm going to choose what decency is in the building, then I need to check what decency is even as you and me meet, because we are both church. So we should just be decent all the time and things like that. So basically, it's just like a number of misconceptions that I address, and that I really felt like as young people, especially, we needed to get those straight. Things like, why do people talk about, why did our parents tell us, no, stay away from boys? For example, for us girls, they'll say stay away from boys at a certain age. Why wouldn't they just let us play with the boys like that? Things like that. And so I addressed that, and I said, when you're growing up at a certain age, your hormones begin to get excited. And as long as you're not ready for that time when you're married and when you can relate with boys, men like that, your body's still got all those hormones jumping up and down. And if you're not careful with your boundaries, you might end up in a place where you don't want to get. So it's things like that. Like, there was a reason they said certain things. They just didn't say them for saying sake. And I believe that when somebody gives you a don't without a reason why you shouldn't do it, your mind is curious to do it. So in the book, I was given reasons why they said don't or do or things like that. So that's what mainly the book is about. It's just clearing some of them.
That is awesome. We look forward to getting your book. Where can we get it, by the way?
Okay, so the books are on Amazon. So if you just check Amazon UK, you'll be able to see them. They're there. And or you can just text me in my DM on LinkedIn or Instagram, and then we can see how to get your book. Yes.
So we are reaching the end of our time together. And we've gone through what you've achieved, what your experience has been like, and obviously you're still young, you're 26, and you're still progressing in the industry, and we wish you luck. But we'd like to know what is next for you career-wise. What would you like to achieve in the future?
Well, basically, I mean, there's so much I want to do, but I just started in this expert role, and I would love to see where this takes me, because when you begin the expert role, I mean, you want to pursue more of that before you decide what your next move is. So hopefully, for a couple of years, I'll pursue the expert role, but eventually I aspire for leadership and managerial positions, and eventually, hopefully, at some point, I'm going to own my own company. You'll pray for me, and then I'll come hire all of you. Oh no, you have your own companies, right? But yes. So hopefully that's where it ends up. But yeah, basically that.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I mean, in closing, since you've done so many things and you've worked with so many people, you're making such a huge impact on the life of young people and the youths, But I mean, in the midst of all that, how would you like to be remembered, in the end?
Wow. That's a very difficult question. I mean, you could all just remember my name. No, that's a joke. Yeah, but I would like to be remembered as somebody that braved the odds. I think there's a book that a lady called Mizinga Melu has done that says braving the odds. I am one person that loves to brave the odds. So while everybody thinks mechanical engineering is hard, I jumped on it. I mean, while everybody says the mining industry should be for men only, I jumped on it, and I am in the mining industry. So I want to be remembered as somebody that took the leap of faith, somebody that did their best, even when they were different, even when they were a woman in mining, they did their best. And I hope that many young women, especially, are going to be bold enough to take up careers in such environments and such careers as well, because they can refer to me and say, if she was able to do it, I can do it as well. And I would like to emphasize that they should say that they can do better. I'm just setting precedents, but I don't want to be the measure point. I really hope that people that come after me do so much better than I've done and achieve even so much greater. But I just hope that I can give somebody hope that there is a way out. I can give somebody hope that you can make it. I can give somebody hope that you can do it, and you can do it very well. And I can give somebody hope that we shouldn't be limited. And no matter the background where you're coming from, I'm coming from a place where I have one parent. My dad died when I was 6, and people would have given up and said, you know what? People said a lot of things when we're young. These kids won't go anywhere. They don't have support. They don't have this. But today I am where I am because God made a way. But I also want to encourage people that you might be an orphan, you might have lost a parent, you might be coming from a background that doesn't seem like things are aligned like that, but it's possible. It's possible if you just do your best. And I'll just say this one last thing that my mom always said to me growing up. She said, Sheila, people can take away everything from you. People can take away the money, people can take away everything, but they will never take away your mind. They will never take away your knowledge. And that's your biggest asset, your knowledge. Just learn as much as you can learn. Be a solution for things that people can find solutions to. Um, be the best version of yourself besides whatever is around you, and that will make you valuable, and you will go places. And so that's what all of us should do. That we should do our best and just make it. Make sure you make it. Yes.
Thank you so much, Sheila. We do have a couple of questions in the chat box, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, I can't access it. So, Tal, can you please go through the questions that have been asked?
Okay, I'm just opening it now. All right, so we have a lot of questions in our chat box. The first one um, coming from Natty, and she asked that did your study touch the environmental field? If yes, in which way?
No, I didn't study anything environmental related.
Okay. And then we've got a second one from our very own Mr. Toby. So while studying mechanical engineering, did you know you were going to practice in the mining industry?
Well, I mean, when people did ask me, like, okay, when you're done with mechanical, where are you going to work? I usually said I'll probably go into the mines, maybe because I was really intrigued about the big machines and just wondering what mining was about. So I had an idea that I might want to go into the engineering field, but I also wasn't very picky because I knew that it's job hunting is another hassle. So I wasn't picky when I graduated. I said whatever comes about, whatever I can start with is fine. And I actually didn't start with a mine. My first place was in a quarry, a small quarry company that was not far from my place. They just it was not a mine per se, but I started from there. So no, not really. I didn't really know if I was gonna end up in the mines, but I admired that it would be something great to be in the mines. Yep.
All right. All right. Thank you. I hope our guest and Mr. Toby have been answered on that one. And we had a question from William Salumu, and the question goes as: did your family structure play a role on realizing your goal? For example, did you have an educated person in your life, a parent at home?
Well, not really. Like I mentioned, my dad died when I was 6, and my mom is a teacher, so I didn't really have that mentorship or that inspiration that would have, I mean, that would have helped me make a decision that this should be it. But my brother is an electronics engineer, and when I was making a decision on which course to take, he was almost also just graduating, but he hadn't even started practicing so much per se. So he did give some advice on the electrical end and said, okay, this is how electrical is, and this is what mechanical is. So yes, the family did give some of their opinions based on what I should get, but at the end of the day, I had to pick what I wanted to pick. But it was also very admirable to hear from my brother on his background on the electrical end. So yes, that's how it was.
All right. And we move on to our next question from Engineer Kampamba Lukwesa. I actually find this question quite humorous because I also had a similar question earlier on, but it goes as follows. What motivated you to do an MBA, and why did you not do mining engineering?
Right. Well, I didn't do mining engineering because, firstly, the school that I actually did my engineering from didn't have mining engineering, unfortunately, but mechanical is great. But why I did an MBA, like I explained earlier, when you're aspiring for managerial positions, it's very important that you have a business background besides just having an engineering background. So that's the reason I chose an MBA. In case where I'm headed to a seat and such a seat, I'm going to need the business side of life. So I think it's important to do that, because you, like I said, when you're in such a position, when you only have an engineering background, people don't know if you can actually make business decisions, because as a manager, as a CEO, you are driving a business. And so because you're driving a business, it's important that you have a bit of some background about business besides just engineering itself. It's worked for some people to just have pure engineering, but I think it's a bit of a challenge because you don't understand some of the the business terms like that. So that's why I think the balance is important. That's why I chose it, at least. Yeah.
Okay, and I've got a question from Shepherd Sandu. He's actually my brother from home. We go to the same church. So it goes as follows. How is the fourth industrial revolution going to shape mechanical engineering as a profession and academic space in the next 10 years? What's your take?
Well, I think where we are headed to, there's going to be a lot of changes because of the technology that's coming in. Because you find that now we're using a lot of AI. There's a lot of artificial intelligence that's been brought into the engineering field, mechanical engineering. I did robotics because I studied in China. You find that the engineering in China, they're a bit more ahead because they're using a lot of robots for some of their things. So when I did robotics, that's what actually gave me the realization that where we are headed to, there's going to be a lot of artificial intelligence, a lot of Internet of Things, even currently with reliability, what we are doing in the mines. And that's why a lot of the people from, back in the days are fighting this, because now instead of going into the field to monitor your machine face to face, you can actually just have a sensor on the machine and you're monitoring from a screen to understand what's happening on your machine. So there's a lot of progression that's happening in the industry, and I think in the next 10 years, even the curriculum, the education curriculum is going to change, because now we need to understand the sensors themselves. Besides just understanding how my gears are working, there's going to be that revolution. And I think it's very important that even as young people now, we start exposing ourselves to such kind of information. We begin to try to grasp how things like this are working, because going forward, that's what it's going to be. Today, we're explaining a lot of things to older people in the minds and trying to make them understand, like, look, you don't need to do this. There's this easier way. And they're fighting it because they're saying, I mean, why? But then you're like, look, it's quicker, it's faster. And that's what the business is about. Sometimes someone will be like, but why do we have to do it quicker? Why do we have to do it faster? But a business should run. A business wants to make money. So because a business wants to make money and it's got a business target, they want to do it in the fastest way possible, in the most effective way possible, and in the shortest time frame. So because of that, if a machine or a robot can do it faster, if a sensor can do it faster, they would prefer that than having you run with your spanner to go down there and work on things. So that's what I think.
All right. Thank you so much, Sheila. I think all the questions in our chat box have been answered.
Right. Great.
Oh, no, sorry. There's one more question actually from Mr. Toby. Okay. So it goes as follows. How did you land your new expert role, and how did you decide on accepting it, knowing that you're working within a great company already?
Okay, so Barrick is a great company. I had settled there and I was really just getting into, everything. But while everything like that was going on, you get to realize that in the workforce or in the business field, you're not just working because you love your job. You're working for money. There are a lot of things at play besides just the fact that you might love what you do. There's the aspect of your salary. There's the aspect of your career growth. How do you see yourself progressing in the company? So, for example, if I'm working in a company and there's nowhere for me to move, I'm the reliability engineer, maybe right above me is a coordinator role or a superintendent role, and the person that's on the superintendent role is a young person, and I can't move anywhere else because after the superintendent is the manager. So if there's no career progression, when I look at the line where I am and where the next person is, I need to think about, where do I want to be? What's your career progression plan like? Do you want to remain a reliability engineer? Do you want to be a coordinator at some point? Do you want to aspire to a superintendent? Then do you want to aspire to a manager? So when you look at that, it helps you make a decision. So in my case, the offer that I received from my next company was better than the money that I was receiving from my previous company. So I had to take that. And how did I land it? Somebody recommended me. Like I mentioned, network is very important. So somebody said, this person can get the job done. I've worked with this person. They work like this. And after the recommendation, I was approached. The offer was given. The interview was done. And I felt like it was a good place to grow as well. It was something different. When you expose yourself to something new, it comes with new challenges, and out of new challenges, you birth out growth. And so for me, I was looking forward to that growth because I felt like I had outgrown the place where I was. I was looking for something more than where I was. So that's what helped me make the decision.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheila. I'll put it back to the floor. Hello.
Good evening. Okay, that's a good presentation there. I really liked it. So far, I think I've learned quite a number of things from the conversation, the interaction, and yeah, the career path. Actually, I heard also talk about the career progression that she's taken in the industry. It's not easy for females actually to be in such an industry. But I think that's a positive way to go as a human being. I think yeah, is it breaking the odds or braving the odds? Somehow, if I heard you right. Yeah, Braving the Odds from Mizinga Meluya. It's one book that I've read and I've also liked it so far. Yeah, I think the industry is small. I find it's so comfortable to interact with people from different works of life. I'm a civil engineer myself, but when I checked your LinkedIn profile some time back, I think I saw you post this opportunity where you have to interact with different type of people. So I took interest at least to also register and find out what is this thing talking about, who are the guys in the industry that are trying to make it. It's also an open door actually to the young guys or the young folks that are just coming out of universities, trying to find a career path. I think if you can have more talks and more discussions like this, where you bring a lot of people on board, they get to interact from time to time. I think it would be really. I think it would be really good for one's career progression. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed the interaction with everybody. I'm sure no one knows me from the forum, or I don't know how you guys have compacted down your network, how you share information there and then for career opportunities, career progression, and whatnot. Yeah, but it's quite a big move if you can incorporate a lot of people from all walks of life. You will find out that you can even drive yourself into starting up something big, a commercial company or something that will encompass quite a number of people, professionals, and yeah, become experts as one to tackle out certain issues, goals, and yeah, I think that's quite interesting to have such conversations.
Okay. Thank you so much.